This is the place with which we're connected mentally, energetically, and by blood. This is the place where you and your ancestors were born. This is a place that you must respect and love by definition and should never sell it. And you cannot exchange it for anything. This is a land that I would like to do even better than it is. And it is necessary to develop myself, to think, to fight, and to win. Wise men say that everything that happens is by the will of God. When I began my service in the Ukrainian army 30 years ago, I could not even imagine that I would once become a farmer, that I would be engaged in breeding fish, and that I would have my own farm in Trypillia.
І буду знаходитися своїм господарством саме в Trypilli.
In Trypillia, along the banks of the Dnipro River, there is a pontoon line, 30 hectares of a special water farm. There are several dozens of fish corrals. The fish splash in nets submerged to a 4-meter depth in the open air. These are new technologies. The Chinese are particularly successful in the fishing business on the global market. In Ukraine, dozens of such farms have also been created. Yuriy Yaremenko is among the pioneers. He started his business 6 years ago. This idea appeared not just out of thin air. I'm a humanitarian and analyst. I saw that this niche in Ukraine is practically empty. The niche of sturgeon breeding and fish farming in general is in an uncared state. So, I and my friend, also a military man, created a small farm together. A wide range of fish is presented at our farm. We grow not only sturgeon. As for sturgeon, we have sterlet of different species. This is the Oka sterlet, as well as the Desna and Danube species. There is a separate subdivision of albinos, which give absolutely golden caviar. We do not try to make of it some dominant species, but this is a fact. Also pure Russian sturgeon of Azov Black Sea population. In addition, there is a bester. We even have belugas, great sturgeon, beautiful material, commodity weight, and a breeding herd. We received this year the status of a breeding reproducer. Just like there are horse breeding farms, we're a fish factory. Now we can sell abroad as we have all the necessary permits, and we can also sell a high-grade product here in Ukraine. Cultivation of edible aquatic organisms under controlled conditions is called aquaculture. Selection, feed production, and relocation are whole scientific activity. FAO specialists, UN Agriculture Division, take this product into account, along with all fish in the food program, and they note its high profitability. The most valuable, of course, is proteins, essential amino acids, a lot of phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and those elements that are simply necessary for the human body. According to the Profile Institutes, MOH, and the international FAO, the scientifically based standard of consumption of aquatic bioresources is about 20 to 22 kilograms per capita per year. And if we're talking about the countries of the European Union and Japan, then the level of consumption of aquatic bioresources reaches 60 to 80 kilograms per capita there. Aquaculture of sturgeon is not a cheap business. It was necessary to obtain a lot of permits, to be patient, and to relentlessly understand the nuances of this science. After a few months, it will be 6 years since we've been based here and growing fish. Sturgeon is characterized by a long period of breeding, difficult and expensive. The fact is that the fish grows up this way. The sterlet grows for the most short period, 5 to 6 years. At the 6th year, it begins to give caviar. We already have a closed processing cycle at our farm. For 2 years, we've been producing from caviar. Production, incubation of the larva, then we grow the fry and sell it together with fertilized caviar. Last year, we had the first experience selling our products abroad. The task is simple. We have to produce a very high-quality sterlet breed. We focus on the so-called first lines, so that it is top-quality material, not hybrid and not reborn. We are currently working hard on this together with scientists. By the way, fishing has the status of scientific production. Here in this field, scientists and students of the National University of Bioresources and Nature Use are preparing their dissertations and master's works. They improve the technology of the revival of sturgeon and its methods of cultivation. And the former worker of the Donetsk fish factory is responsible for supervising the work. I am a former industrialist. I have worked for 20 years, and I see today that people from other industries are becoming engaged in aquaculture. Our respectable production workers are not professionals. They correctly understood that for the success of the business, it is necessary to work with science. We have already achieved good results from cooperation. The enterprise may consider itself a full-scale farm, where the technological cycle is closed, from egg to commodity production. Sturgeon fish in these gardens is grown on natural Dnipro water, and the quality of this product is quite high. And the research we conduct confirms this quality. Sturgeon is approximately 250 million years old. This fish survived the dinosaurs. Its oil has a positive effect on the human brain and heart as a balm. The sturgeon meat contains glutamic acid and resembles animal meat. Now sturgeon, sterlet, bester, and beluga are aquaculture. Earlier, when the main river of Ukraine had not been blocked by dams and cascades, the fish itself came here from the sea for spawning. Fishing in these regions began 6,000 years ago. People of the Trypillian civilization fed themselves with bester. Thanks to the beneficial properties of sturgeon, carnal riding, copper, and clay sculpture developed. At the moment, there is a law on aquaculture, and there is a mechanism for its implementation, but no farm in Ukraine can take advantage of this right. What do I mean? We would like to rent some of the public pools. Everywhere in Europe, in Turkey, there are many fish farms. They breed fish there, feed it, and turn a profit from this business. This means jobs, tax revenues to local budgets, and fresh fish on store shelves. Beluga and sturgeon are a perfectly natural fish for the Dnipro River. Once the Dnipro was teeming with fish, especially of the sturgeon kinds that we read about now in chronicles. It was a sterlet, it was a Russian sturgeon, and it was beluga that was harbored here. Yuriy Yaremenko thoroughly knows the history of his homeland. After completing his military service in the rank of colonel, he became a sociologist and a publisher. Trypillia is a nice fishing village. During the Soviet times, here there was one of the largest collective farms in Ukraine. They neglected this village. All 33 workshops that were operating here were broken down and wrecked. Beside us is the flooded village of Husinci. There was a church here that looked out of the water. Now good people have contributed their efforts to rebuild the church. Here is a peculiar atmosphere and totally unique energy. And that is why, despite the many problems we have, thanks to the fact that we live on our own land and work on this earth, we will all triumph. In Ukraine, we will win with us. Biologists make biopsy tests. They determine whether sterlet will spawn next year. The increase in the population of aquaculture is an ecological and economic strategy, because in the annexed Crimea, the lion's share of fish farms of the country has remained. There is no longer any income from exporting fish to Russia. The fishers have now reoriented to Western and Asian markets, and competitors on these markets get help from their country's governments. In Ukraine, there is a program according to which institutions are financed. There are 4 factories that, according to their profile, carry out the reproduction of bioresources, stocking the Caspian Sea with fish, and parts of the water reservoirs of Western Ukraine are stocked with water bioresources. Users of water bioresources who carry out industrial fishing in the Dnipro Cascade buy planting material at their own expense.
Посадкового матеріалу та також зариблення водойм за рахунок міжнародних фондів.
Also, at the expense of international funds, Ukraine has been allocated 400 million euros. This is assistance in the form of credits, a third of which is planned to be spent precisely on fishery needs. But the greatest pride of Yuriy Yaremenko is the Dnipro Caviar. The starlet has been given caviar for the 2nd year. The product was of interest to the French. They have conducted a series of studies and quality tests and bought everything at once. Then the fish workshop started working. France is one of the countries where the culture of consumption of black caviar is the highest, and it has the largest volume. They're gourmets. They know what real black caviar is. And now they have ordered it from our farm. In the contract, it is written that they are ready to buy from us in advance the full volume of caviar that we managed to produce. We make a high-quality product. Our colleagues from other countries work with us. We're constantly communicating. Our guests come to us. Colleagues claim that tastiest caviar in the world is grown in the natural biosphere on the Dnipro River. But this caviar must be made according to classical technology. It means that the fish should be slaughtered. The caviar should be salted and nothing more. Then it's real caviar. Black caviar is considered a gourmet product. It is very expensive. This is due to the fact that sturgeon fish become mature at a respectable age. For starlet, it is 6 to 7 years. For Russian and Siberian sturgeon, 9 and more years. That is, it is associated with high costs for the formation of caviar in the bodies of fish. And today on the Ukrainian market, there are 2 kinds of caviar. The classic method of production and the so-called milked caviar. It is obtained by taking it out of a live fish, but using methods of hormonal stimulation. Yes, the classic caviar is more expensive and considered to be of higher quality. In Ukraine, the branch of fish farming is developing. We have risen to the level of production of black caviar. This year, a ton of this delicacy went for export. The fish are grown in Ukraine in ecologically favorable conditions, water. It is fed with domestic quality feeds. That is why their products are in demand in the markets of the near and far abroad. In particular, the countries of the European Union, as well as the countries of the Asian region, are interested in Ukrainian caviar. We already have black caviar of the Dnipro style, says Yuriy Yaremenko. At this moment, he's cooking the skein. It is a membrane, in the form of a sack that contains caviar. It does not fit for a jar of the elite product, but how delicious it is! Sturgeons really do not have unnecessary elements. All fish goes either for culinary purposes, is used in medicine, or goes into the wallets, the fish farmer tells his students. But the most valuable thing is communication with the fish. Fish is a living creature with whom you begin to interact with pleasure. And you understand that when you come to the fish farm from a big city with millions of people and many problems, at such a farm you rest not only physically but morally. It's a kind of energy outlet for stressed out people. We very much hope that our efforts will not be in vain, and in the near future our hobby will turn into a business. And the Ukrainian consumer also wins with us, with the expansion of the assortment, with its quality. And I want to believe that the work that brings moral satisfaction now will also bring material gains in the future.